Want to talk with you about forgiveness and 3 steps how to go about forgiveness. If you're not quite sure, well, what is forgiveness really? It's us being able to say, I forgive you to a person who might have hurt us, so we can take charge of what has happened instead of being so controlled by our anger. I know it's a pretty big one, isn't it? You might even think, why would I want to forgive my friend? He said or she said that and that, right? And you might feel justified in your anger, right? You might even feel like it makes you powerful and strong, and that's how other people don't do certain things for you or to you again, right? I totally get it. Forgiveness can be so hard. And that's where step number 1 comes in: acceptance. Forgiveness starts with acceptance. Acceptance that what has happened, and that we sometimes can't change people. It's important for us to let go of negative emotions, though, even though they might be so justified, and however justified they are, right? Because we think by being angry or not forgiving people, it helps us take control over that, right? And punishes them so that they don't do it again. But it's not true. We actually punish ourselves by being angry, and it hurts our bodies and minds, and hurts us emotionally and physically. Other people might even not care about. They might just think that's a difficult behavior, because being angry doesn't tell them anything. In the opposite, it's us being able to speak up. And by letting go of these negative emotions, it actually gives us that opportunity to set ourselves free from being that victim and allowing other people to treat us like that, and take back that power. And I know, I get it. It's so much easier to say, well, they are so stupid and they've done these things, right? And I can't even stand being around these people. I get it. But it is step by step. You don't have to forgive them right away. First, start with accepting what has happened and that you can't change it. It doesn't mean you have to agree with that person or what they have done. It also doesn't mean you have to like them, but it's about accepting that you cannot change it. And it's important to take control of yourself and how you are going to respond to what has happened now. It's about learning to see that sometimes, and I know it sounds crazy, but often people who actually hurt us are people who treat themselves and feel about themselves like that. And they might have even been treated like that by other people, like their parents, let's say. So by being able to get that perspective and that objective distance can actually be quite life-changing, because we can actually realize that it's not personal, even if it seems so personal. So let's take my example. I always believed that my parents did certain hurtful things to me because they wanted to do it. I thought that they say certain things to me because they do that on purpose. Because if I would matter to them and if I would be lovable, they wouldn't do those hurtful things to me, right? Quite logical, isn't it? But then later on, I actually realized that people who have come to grow up in an environment that was very harsh themselves. So for instance, I'm originally from Germany and my parents grew up shortly after the war. And people at that time have been treated very damaging and harsh. So that's what they grew up with. And it doesn't have to be like that traumatic. But let's say your parents grew up in an environment that was super old-fashioned and very controlling. And that's all they have gotten to know. And that's how they treat others, because that's how they have been treated. So I realized that, which helped me to be able to let go of that anger, step back and take back that power by being able to say, I forgive you guys. You know, as hard it as may seem, because they have gone through it themselves. So I accepted what cannot be changed, but in that way able to let go of others controlling me and my emotions, because I'm letting go of that energy and I speak up for myself, right? So it's about you being able to say, you know what, guys, I understand that you guys are like that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna give that back to you. I get why you're so like that. I don't like it, but I forgive you. And then start treating yourself better and getting distance from those people, right? So you can be that role model and show others how to treat themselves. Step number 2 is, yes, accepting that you have these hurt feelings and grieving and mourning those painful memories and the things that people have done to you and said. It's okay to feel that way. But then also letting go of it. So let's say your parents treat you less than, or they might devalue you, and you feel like, oh my God, they screw up my life. I get it. It's okay to be hurt. But it's important to let those feelings go, knowing that it's sometimes not personal and not being so controlled by anger, because that's what gives other people power over us. So yes, I know you expected your parents to be different, just like I did. And yet I cannot change it. People don't change sometimes, right? So it's about treating yourself better now, and show others how it's done. Being that role model for others and their growth, so you can create that ripple effect in the world. Also, sometimes you have to know adults don't like to be told what they are doing wrong, especially by young children or teens or adolescents, because parents are the very people that are supposed to be always right? So being wrong makes them feel and look like a failure. So it's hard for them to admit failures. So it's up to us sometimes to remind them on how powerful forgiveness can be by saying, you know what, I don't agree with you. I find you're very mean to me, but I forgive you, knowing that this is all you learned, or something like that, right? So parents, yes, they do lose their way. They sometimes are confused, right? So it's by us being expressive as much as we can, and being authentic, so we can show them that we forgive them, but that we also are willing to negotiate. If you are around people though, like let's say your friends still keep on being mean although you expressed yourself, or your parents are still disrespectful, that's when you have to set boundaries and separate yourself and distance yourself as much as you can by people, and show them that you treat yourself well. So don't let them take control over you by you becoming fearful or anxious. Treat yourself well and show them how it's done. Keep doing it. It's so important. All these small, consistent changes in speaking up for yourself makes a difference, right? It's important to know that you have that right to speak up and take good care of yourself, so that you can be that role model for others. I know it will take time and I know it will take practice, but it's so worth it. And I totally get it. During your journey, you will probably experience many times, where you have those setbacks and you have those angry feelings, right? But keep going, and know it's about healing yourself and allowing yourself to feel good so that others don't have that power over you. Step 3 is that true forgiving, right? I know it can be so challenging, right? But it's about us being able to extend that grace to those people that hurt us, even though we feel like it's not deserving, or they don't deserve it, right? Like, I understand, right? Again, it doesn't mean you have to like them or agree with them. It is important to know that letting go of these negative feelings and painful emotions is healthy. Otherwise, we only hurt and punish ourselves. Again, it's important to not give other people so much power over us. Instead, we need to express ourselves. If we hold those negative emotions in our bodies, we keep ourselves stuck. All we do is thinking about how angry we are about those people. So it doesn't help us growing and becoming that better version. It's not about setting them free, it's about setting ourselves free, right? So remind yourself to look at the big picture, and know that you won't be living with your parents forever, and you won't have this person as your only friend or whatever, right? Just take that self-control and say, guys, what you do, I don't agree with that. I'm not gonna be like that, and I understand why you guys are like that, even if I don't agree with you, but I forgive you. It's setting those boundaries, knowing you will do better for yourself, right? Accept what has happened, move past it, and remember you're forgiving them because you are doing that for yourself. Also, sometimes if you feel like you have a hard time forgiving others, it's usually because you haven't forgiven yourself for something. So it's really good to start with yourself. For instance, allow yourself or forgive yourself for allowing other people to have so much control over you, or forgive yourself for allowing other people to be so mean to you, right? If you can start forgiving yourself, you will be able to forgive others. It's also called self-compassion. Have that compassion with yourself so you can start loving yourself. Also, if you ever felt like you have done something to somebody that hurt them and you can't really forgive yourself for that, know that you only have to admit it to yourself. Admit it to yourself, acknowledge the actions that you have done that might have hurt them, and then take responsibility for it, right? Just apologize if you can, or make possible adjustments or meaningful amendments, and that can also be with other people, right? So listen to other people maybe that have been hurt, right? And in that way you can make up for your mistake. Just know it's important to forgive yourself too, so you can forgive others. And also remember, just do your best forgiving. I know it takes time and it will be one step at a time, but if you can forgive others, it actually helps others forgiving you too. So by forgiving others, you will be forgiven too. So remember those 3 steps. Small steps towards forgiving. First, accept what has been done. Speak up, tell them how it makes you feel. Let go of those negative emotions. Step 2, grieve those painful memories and those hurt emotions that you're feeling, and then letting them go so that other people don't have that power over you. And then truly say, I forgive you. I don't agree with you. I don't like what you're doing, but I'm doing that so I can set myself free, and I know because you guys might have grown up in a weird environment. So it's literally not liking them or not agreeing with them. It's all about forgiving them so you can set yourself free and not punish yourself with your anger and resentment. It's not agreeing to what they have done, but it's literally just forgiving so that you can be free from those emotions and separate yourself and distance